Welcome to Mic'd and Medicated. And we have Lucie Fink joining us today on the couch. We're very excited. Lucie is, I guess I would say a storyteller at heart. And first and foremost, a storyteller through video. You went from being a video producer at Refinery 29 to now having your own media brand, as well as being a one-on-one coach for aspiring storytellers and video producers. And before we kind of get into
she has a podcast.
Oh my God, I forgot. and she has a podcast. We have so much to learn from you.
And she's kind of a famous YouTuber.
Yes.
You guys.
I mean,
but maybe you can introduce yourself because I clearly left things out.
Yes. Well, I love that intro. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a good one.
So my name's Lucie. For people who don't follow me, I'm 33. I'm a lifestyle creator. We were just having a conversation about the difference between an influencer and a content creator. I guess I'm kind of both. Like I operate as both. I fit the definition of both. Although I really consider myself to be a producer and a video storyteller. I think that's the word that I would use. I mean, I make money as an influencer would often, but I apply the principles of being a content creator and almost an artist to every piece of sponsored content I do. So it doesn't really look like I'm an influencer, even though, I work with brands and sell their products. But as you mentioned, I was at Refinery 29. I worked there for about 5 years from 2015 to 2019, and basically built their brand for a really long time through a couple of YouTube series that they just let me, they set me free, told me to go produce and do whatever I wanted and make content that young people would want to watch. And I produced 2 series for them that helped grow their YouTube channel, and then was able to kind of capture my own followers from that. And by 2019, felt totally equipped to take the plunge, dive in with my own content management company, agents, and just go off on my own and build my own media brand.
You're the first person I've met who makes a living off of your content. And it's so fascinating to me to
a lot of
meet
people
somebody.
are.
That's my point. They call it the creator economy, but I hadn't actually met somebody who's done it successfully, maybe because I'm too old.
Well, we also haven't figured out how to do it. So that's why we're talking to you too.
Of course.
I'm just kidding.
But I'm curious on an intellectual level, how you're doing
so
it.
there was a whole life cycle of how it's those videos where it's like how it started versus how it's going.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different. So when I first got started doing this, it was very much like I'm just posting a lot of content. I'm talking about a lot of brands that I like for free, just sharing information with people, less intentionally trying to communicate with the brands, but more just telling my audience the products that I'm loving and using and starting to talk about brands. And there was a whole long period of just, you're doing a lot of stuff for free. No one's paying you because you don't have the audience. Then as you start to have followers, you start to get brands reaching out and asking to send you free stuff. And then they just want to give you gifting and PR, and they want a chance at their stuff being called out amongst the other stuff you're calling out. So then for a hot second, this is just like the life cycle of a creator. For a hot second, you'll start to get so much gifting that it goes very quickly from being so exciting to so overwhelming. And once you hit the overwhelming part where you're like, listen, I need to pay my rent, I don't need another pot in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Then at that point, you can start being a little more discerning, and you can start responding to the brands and say, now it's actually, if you want to send me, I'm only taking product for paid partnerships. So I'm not doing any gifting, or I'm not doing any guaranteed posting for gifting. I will only post if it's a guaranteed contracted partnership.
I'm hearing you through the lens of I'm a mom of a teenage daughter, and it does feel, and I say to her sometimes, all of that content you're watching, you're being manipulated. People want you to buy things. That's what that's about. Because she does all the get dressed with me.
That's been forever.
Right. But now it's different. I don't know how you feel, Lucie, because it used to be you knew it was an advertisement. It came at the break between TV, segments. Now you think people are just talking to you. It's not as transparent.
Yeah. Well, there are FTC guidelines.
Right.
So
do you have to write hashtag ad or sponsored?
Hashtag ad or sponsored if you were paid. There's also now tools within Instagram and TikTok to like disclose the paid partnership at the top of the post. So technically it says it right there. And I also think the apps like deprioritize showing it to people if you tag it as a brand deal, because they know people don't want to be seeing ads all the time. So there's that. But then if something's gifted, like you're often supposed to say that it was gifted.
Right.
Different brands will tell you like different things to cover their own asses.
I'm curious, as a mom now of
Mhm.
these 2 young kids, how do you think about like how you're going to be like, can you look ahead, and how do you feel about social media for them?
That's a different question.
For kids, well, I'm totally on board with the like no phones for kids or no social media for kids for as long as possible. I mean, if I think in my town there's like a campaign going around that I'm like, I'm gonna sign this, I'm ready to
Right.
be. I want them to be screen free for as long as possible. And I think the platforms are doing some really great things to try to protect people. But one example of one thing that Instagram, a feature they have right now, is that when you create an Instagram, you have to put your birthday in. So if you put your birthday in as being under a certain age, you are you are declared a teen account, and then that limits what they show you. But even if you lie about your birthday, Instagram has all these algorithms to be able to predict if you're actually a teen based on your consumption patterns and what you're looking at and what you're watching.
Oh,
And it
wow.
will denote certain accounts as teen accounts, even if they don't say they're
That sucks if
teens.
you're not a teen. You're just dumb.
I know. It's like you just watch silly content, and now
Right.
they think
Also,
you're
though,
dumb.
like,
I just
anymore.
saw
They're
an
not arresting
amazing
Instagram
ad.
people.
I think it was for like, I don't know what the nonprofit's for, but something like Screen Free America. I don't know. And it was basically an ad of a father putting his son to bed and being like, "Good night, son," and just like about to close the door. And he's like, "Oh, by the way, I just want to tell you, there's a box in the corner of your room that has all of the pornographic material in the whole world, even the stuff that could scar you if you look at it. So just don't look in there, okay?" And then he's like, "Oh, and by the way, there's this like Russian hacker who's sitting in the corner of your room all night trying to get all your passwords." And it like pans to this man.
wow.
And then it's like, "Oh, and the girls from your high school are just going to be like talking shit about you in the corner all night." And it basically is like describing what is happening on the internet if a kid is given access to the internet by themselves in the dark at night. And it really hit for me. I was like, wow,
Whoa.
we need to figure this out.
I know as an adult, it is hard to have my phone in my bedroom and not check it or be on it. And I watch my husband, who
My husband is just like,
he
he's
claims
addicted.
he's reading, but whatever.
Me too.
He's still
My
on
husband,
the phone.
I'm working. I'm like, I don't know what you're watching, but it's not
But
work.
I think we've given our kids all those things you just said that are scary, but then we're telling them, but don't look. You have it. You can be in your room at night with it, going to bed. But
Well, we're
don't
also
look.
doing it. I think that's the hard thing.
I put mine in the charging station too.
No wonder you don't answer me.
You know what? Okay, I have to jump in here with an interesting tidbit regarding content creation world. So I think this is one area that I feel like I kind of am approaching everything about being a creator from a different perspective than many people. Not than everyone, but than many people. And I think it comes into play here. So as we're all aware, I feel like we live in this world where everyone's like somewhat trying to be a creator. They kind of recognize that no matter what job they have or no matter what they're selling or who they are, like you need a personal brand, and everyone's trying to show up, and we're all idolizing these creators and looking at them sharing their lives, and we're like, I should be doing more of that. I should be doing more of that. And if you talk to many creators, you will hear them say how this job is like this endless vicious cycle, and they're not having any fun, and they're all just stressed out, and it's all, once you're in it, you're in this comparison trap, and then it's like all about metrics and weighing yourself against other people. And everyone talks about how unhealthy having a phone is, or being on social media is like bad for your mental health, whatever. And I really think one area of this whole equation that I for a very long time have been viewing things differently is that I do not think of this as like, okay, my life as Lucie, like I'm now sharing everything about my life, and I'm a lifestyle creator, so I'm always on my phone, I'm always showing up, I'm posting everything every day, and like there's no blurred lines.
Right.
I
You have
very much
boundaries.
view this as, this is my job. I am intending to earn money from this, and it is a highly curated, it's not that it's not authentic or real, but it is a highly like everything is a choice of what I'm sharing. Everything's a choice of what I'm not sharing. I've had so many special moments in my life that I have. One example, picking my wedding dress. That is amazing content. Like the SEO on that on YouTube is out of control. I knew that would be great content. But it was so important to me to just go and pick my dress and not be producing a film about it. So I went in, I picked my dress. I had no cameras. It was my mom, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law. We picked my dress. It was great. Then I went back to Kleinfeld with a camera crew and filmed it all and made a whole video acting like I'm picking my dress. There were so many elements of my shows at Refinery that were, I do it in real life and then I film it, produce it like a TV show with a shot list and a plan and a targeted plan. Like you don't have the videographer all day. You got to like be targeted with what you're doing. You film and you're done. And even in my personal life to this point, like people who follow me are like, I know everything about your life. I know your kids. I know your life. And I literally am like, you do not know maybe 10%.
I like
that is my curated. That's what I'm sharing. It's not that I'm not being real with what I'm showing you, but this is my job. And I'm actually so happy in my real life because I'm not sharing everything with everyone.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. Because then you see people who, we all have friends who are influencers. I would say they're not content creators because they're not maybe creative enough for that. And they're not they're just like taking photos. They're on their phone.
Right.
They're not even enjoying. And then you'll see them post the party. And I'm like, you looked miserable at that party, but I'm glad it looked really fun on Instagram.
Right.
And that's also very bad for that young generation of kids. I think actually what is this new trend, you're giving me an epiphany, is that we're moving toward, there's so much information at these kids and at us that we're wanting to go back to less content, but more curated, more produced, more, it's like,
which is maybe not how maybe not what Gen Z wants or how they're consuming and sharing content.
Millennials do. And what are you? You're not a millennial. No, I always get confused.
I'm a Gen X.
Gen X wants first of all, Gen Z, they don't even work. So they don't have money to pay to give me for anything. So I want the older people to watch us.
What I love about what you're saying though, I think just to take it from a slightly different perspective is this is a career for you. Mm-hmm. There is a difference. Like I think about the Kardashians and maybe for them it's a career too. But like when you open yourself up and you have cameras following in your home all day, it feels like you're blurring the lines in that like I'm putting my life out there because it's interesting to a lot of people and I want to make money from it, but there's no kind of church and state. And what you're saying is for me, I'm very intentional about when I'm on camera and what I'm doing on camera. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe, I don't know, you'll tell me that's either a luxury you've earned because you've gotten to a certain place on this continuum or on this ladder, I should say, because a continuum goes horizontal, a ladder goes vertical. But whatever. The point is you've arrived at a place where you can do that. And I think the personal brand piece is so interesting because having been in corporate America for 30 years, I felt a lot of pressure as the world sort of became more digital and people were putting personal content out to have a brand. And like how, like, do you find in your work and the people you coach that that's a requirement now to be successful, even in other professions, even if you're not a content creator?
Well, I don't know if this is going to answer your question fully, but to the point of what you were just saying about if I've earned that or if I've always been there, I think that has always been my approach to content, because when I was at Refinery 29 and I was making content that other people were calling vlogs, like just to give you a little background of when I did 5 days of a challenge, 5 days, let's call it, I want to pick an example.
You didn't wash your hair.
2 weeks of not washing my hair.
Yeah. Okay. So, listen, certain challenges, I will say, were filmed more real-time vlog style because it was like, I'm doing this once and I'm filming it along the way. So, not washing my hair, or like when
eating only pizza.
Eating only pizza. When I went and I did like Facing My Fears and I went to this guy in New Jersey who put bugs all over me. Like I'm doing it live. We're filming it live. But a lot of the show, like one episode I did was 5 days of spending time alone. And it was like I went to the movies by myself. I did a few things by myself. And in order to produce a YouTube video that people are going to want to watch, I did not want to be vlogging that in real time and just be spewing out whatever's happening is happening, and then we'll string it together and upload a 20-minute video. I was creating a TV show for YouTube that was packaged like a TV show where it has a clear beginning, middle, and end. So what I was doing was going out and living my week, doing the challenge and taking notes along the way, and then reflecting upon the week, organizing my thoughts, putting it into a story, making sure there's a story arc, like making sure there was some rising action. Usually by Wednesday, there was some like tension. Thursday, a hurdle I overcame. And then Friday was like the resolution. Every episode had a structure and an arc. I would then take the videographer to film the B-roll that I needed to tell the story. Some of it, as I said, like some things were filmed in real time if it was like I'm doing this once.
Right.
But other times we would recreate things, restage moments. And then I would sit in my room and I would record a lot of the Monday through Friday vlog talking to the camera. After the fact, I would record all 5 of them in one day and change my outfit 5 times and act like today's Monday, today's Tuesday, today's Wednesday, and tell the story in a strategic way. And so even from that time, like I was not showing up on YouTube like Emma Chamberlain, vlogging her whole life, taking you in the car while she went to go.
I don't even know who that is.
She's
I
a
don't
very
either.
famous YouTuber who is a vlogger, who started as a vlogger. She's now an A-list celebrity, but like was a vlogger who was just on her phone,
Right.
or in the coffee shop. Then she's in the bathroom taking a
Like,
shit.
but
Then
ew,
she's
people
here.
are not that interesting. I don't want to see everything.
actually
Well,
think
were
people
obsessed with
want
it.
that. I think
People do want it, and I was giving them something different.
Jeez.
Right.
Because to me that was like I had to come from a place of not like what do people want, but I was coming from what do I want to make. I don't want to be filming my whole life and
Sorry
just
about the
taking you
dogs.
around. I want to be making TV show. I grew up in the 90s and always watched TV.
Oh my
and I was
God.
like, I want a
Can
TV
we just
show.
have a moment? And I feel like I do this a lot, and I'm really sorry. How freaking good was TV in the 90s?
Oh,
Like, did you not cry when Bob Saget died? It was like losing a dad.
Of course. Yes.
I mean, Danny
did
Tanner.
you just see that Aunt Becky?
Yes, of
Yeah,
course.
their daughters
DJ.
were- yeah.
Yes,
How
DJ and Aunt
cute.
Becky's daughters are
Our
friends. I'm obsessed.
They were bridesmaids to each other.
And does not Aunt Becky's daughter, they're identical.
Yeah.
And wait, you're a twin as well.
I'm a twin.
Which was basically like every girl's 90s like dream.
Yeah.
Because like the Parent Trap
And we like
Olsen
looked
twins.
a lot like the Olsens.
Yeah, you
as
look like the
babies.
Olsen twins.
As babies, we did.
Right.
Because we were both blonde. Yeah.
But what every movie and every show
Mhm.
was about twins. I don't know. It
love
was a
The
very
Parent Trap, my favorite.
Oh, the
great with
best.
Lindsay Lohan. I went to the premiere of that.
I actually had the original because I'm that
Oh,
old.
with
but
Haley Mills.
I loved when
Right?
Lindsay Lohan did the
So good.
refresh. How many years have you been married?
6.
Okay, it's
But you're like me.
We've
Didn't
been
you
together
date
16
forever?
years.
Okay, so Doug and I dated. My husband's Doug. Doug and I dated 8.5 years before he proposed. Why did you wait so long?
Before getting married.
Yes.
because you guys met young, right?
Yeah, we met in high school. So we got married. We had been together 10 years when we got married, but I was like only 28,
Right.
maybe
But that's
27.
Still,
I got married at 27.
I think 27. I was like one of the first of my friends to get
So you-
married. I say all the time, like I understand why people get divorces,
Right.
like now more than ever, because having kids tests your relationship so much. And we have such a strong foundation that we've started with. And yet even it has tested us.
Oh, just
so
you
I'm like,
wait
I
till your
cannot
kids talk
imagine.
back.
I know.
And then it's like real disciplining them.
Mm.
That's where it becomes stressful. And then you're just like, I fucking can't take this anymore. My son's like a mini lawyer. My daughter's a mini lawyer. So by the time my husband comes home, I'm like, just love me, give me like, just pay attention to me. Just like, I don't want to talk, but I just want to be loved. And my kids steal the
Do
attention.
you guys do couples therapy?
Of course.
Okay, great.
Do you?
We don't, but
No,
I've been
you don't
trying
need
to
to. 'Cause
convince
everything's
him.
so good.
No, I've been
I'm just
trying to
kidding.
convince him that we should, because I think it's great for every couple to do. And he was like adamantly against it. And I think I got him.
Most
on
men are
board.
against it.
Yeah. Well, he was just like, he thought that meant that there was a problem. And I was
No.
like, no, it's
Yes.
before the problem.
I agree. We do
Yes.
it because we speak differently. Like
Yeah.
in the sense where I have obviously like talking. We have a podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I both have fought with our husbands in front of each other, and it's just like a fire hose, the
Mhm.
two of us. And our husbands are kind of like, so
Yeah.
we have to learn how to shut up and how to let them talk. But my husband also has to learn how to apologize. He does not understand how to do that.
Okay. So
Does your
I think
husband
I'm
know?
the one who needs to learn how to apologize.
Oh, I do
Okay.
too, but I don't care
My
about that.
husband has the most empathy of any human ever. And so
Aw.
if I go to him, no matter what I say, he says the right thing. when he comes to me and tells me that he has a problem with something, I immediately try to solve the problem. I'm like, we got to take action. I don't like to think about stuff. I don't like to just be like wallowing in stuff.
Right.
So I'm like, we have to take action. And our constant back and forth, like fight or disagreement is he'll come to me, tell me something, and I will be like, all right, let's figure it out then. And I'll start going. And he'll say to me, all I wanted was empathy. Like all I wanted was for you to
you're the
say,
woman.
yes.
Energy.
I mean, he's the
I
woman.
have the masculine energy in our relationship.
Yes.
He is way more emotional. This is why I don't feel like I can relate to a lot of conversations like this, because I'm married to a man.
No, I'm not.
But he
have to actually
brings
specify
the
that
more
now.
emotional energy in our relationship, where he is like, he gets teary over things. Like
I've never
happy
seen my
things.
husband cry.
Oh, my husband cries like
Never.
4 times a day over happy things.
Is he home with the kids or he works too?
He works too. And he's just more like, his whole family's more emotional. They've always been that way. And also I've never met a person more than his mom who is like the right level of, I don't know if it's empathy or just what the word is to say this, but like if you tell her she did something wrong, she like responds the way a perfect human should respond, where she would be like, there's not a drop of defensiveness. It's
God.
It's
So
like,
I've
I'm
never met
so
one.
sorry that I made you feel that way. Like says it perfectly, and she's passed that on to him.
Wait,
So-
are you his dad? Like, did he marry his dad? Like, how does his dad handle
No, I don't
when
know.
he's told he did something wrong?
I think interesting question. I don't know. I just know his mom is like really way more of all people I know. You will, if you say like what you did hurt my feelings, she will just immediately, I'm so sorry that I made you feel that way. Like
I don't think I have anybody in my family.
And my husband she's passed that to him.
Yes.
So if I
yes.
ever go to him, something's wrong, it's like all the ego is gone. And he's like, first of all, I'm so sorry that you feel that way. That must be really, like, he just knows exactly what to say.
He like knows, he's like a gentle parent.
But with me, it's like, if he says something to me that like what you did was wrong, my immediate response is like, well, let me tell you the 45 reasons why that's not what I intended to do, and why it's actually like
That's my
hurtful
husband.
that you're coming at me this way. So that's what I'm working on in
Right.
therapy.
Yeah, actually,
Right.
well, this is how I feel like.
because it triggers something where you become defensive.
Yes.
Have you seen the video of the woman with the nail in her head?
No.
Have you seen this? It's so funny. So it's a typical male and female relationship. It sounds like, I think actually Eva's also the masculine one. So you guys might be the woman with the nail in her head.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the woman is sitting there with a nail in her head and her husband is sitting across from her. And she's like, I'm in so much pain. My head is killing me. My sweaters are snagging. And he's like, well, can you take she's like, just stop. Just want you to listen to me. She's like, it's just the pain. It's just throbbing, you know? He's like, you have stop. And he's like, I get it. That must be really hard. And she's like, thank you.
Thank you. That's all she wanted. No, but that
literal
honestly,
giant
I
nail in her
cannot
head.
relate, because I am like, if there's a fucking nail in my head, take it out. Like,
That's a masculine approach.
No,
It's
I
to
think
solve.
you're
I
like,
don't
if
want you to
there's a-
tell me that you so understand why I would feel like I don't need empathy in any situation. So
Well, am I correct to take it a step further that you're like, I wouldn't come to you in the first place. I would just pull it on and keep going with my day.
yes,
Pull it out and keep going with my day.
Yes,
Because I
100%.
do feel sometimes like
I would go get the hammer and I'd put the back of it on me and I'd rip it out of my head.
Right.
And then maybe I'd be like, I have a hole in my head, so I need some support. But like, truly, when he says, I just want empathy, like when he comes to me with a problem that I can clearly see the answer to, and all he wanted me to say was like, I'm so sorry, that must be really hard. I'm like, what was the point of this conversation?
So, yeah, so you're a man and I'm a girl. I'm a woman.
I
And it's
can
very,
be
but I'm
both.
tough.
I can
Yeah,
be
we're both
I
both.
can be both, but I do think he's also giving you like really good insight into yourself and fodder for your therapy to how to be a better parent. Because I do think when it
Totally.
comes to your kids,
Right.
like if you solve for them, they don't learn for themselves. All they learn is go to my parents to
Totally.
solve it. And instead, like, even though it's annoying, you have to be like, well, what do you think you should do?
Yes, totally.
That
That's
is true.
very true.
I didn't think about that. Actually,
I learned so much about things. Like I'm the one in our relationship who's listening to all the podcasts about like what to say and the scripts and what
Me
not to say.
too.
But my husband doesn't listen to any of that, but he just like knows it. So
see, I'm
he's
more
the one
I'm
who's
more like
saying-
intuitive.
Yeah, he's
When
intuitive.
he was raised, I mean,
yeah.
so much of
Maybe
who
Teddy
you
will be like
are.
that. He wrote me a note that was like, I'm really sorry. I
I
was
think
mean
he's
to
an
you.
old soul.
My son.
Mhm.
But
he thinks he's my like husband for some reason.
Well, I think I mean, I think that happens a lot where like the oldest son is that way to the mom if he can feel that the mom feels, I don't want to say neglected, that's the wrong.
Sorry, Jeremy. Maybe.
But like feels like they need
I love my
something.
husband. He's amazing. He's just, he's a very typical male who's
But-
the most emotional,
Right.
emotionally empathetic man I've known, but
Mhm.
not your husband.
But what I was going to say is that I think we are all products of our early formative relationships
Mhm.
and like the way you interact with your parents, your siblings, like those first relationships, they are how you become,
Yeah.
and you replay those dynamics. So your husband clearly learned from his mother
Totally.
how to be incredibly empathetic, no ego. Really, he's selfless. He cares about how you're feeling. He knows it doesn't
he have a
reflect
sister?
on him.
He's a sister.
Yeah.
Because you also, I was thinking you have a twin. So I feel like as twins, like you probably don't even realize this, but you read each other's minds in some way.
Yes.
So like that maybe you didn't learn how to communicate what you need because you kind of just both got it.
Well, in my family, so I have a brother and a twin and then two parents, and we were all so close. Like whenever anyone's asked me about my childhood, I'm like, it was amazing. Like I have great memories of it and I loved it. And it was only once I started being with my now husband and integrating into his family that I see there's such a huge difference in how everyone is communicating. And like, I don't think it has anything to do with love or, how good the families are or anything, but like the way my family communicates, it's a lot more of just like, there's a lot of laughing and we're joking and we're silly. And like, if my dad has something emotional to tell me, it's not delivered in person. It's like a email or a text or like him posting a Instagram caption on my birthday that I read the nicest thing in written.
My family.
That's how my family is kind of like that. And Michael's family will sit around the dinner table and be like, go around to each person and be like, I just want to tell you how impactful you've been on my life.
Whoa.
Like every family dinner.
But that's
It's like a wedding speech.
That's exactly right. So you're raised in those environments. It's making me think that like communication is so
Duh.
Mm-hmm.
central, and it's like
It's
there's no
everything.
right way, there's no
Mhm.
wrong way, but like when you get married, and I imagine dating 10 years, you've already figured this out by the time you get married.
Mhm.
Although I dated for 8.5 years and I'm still figuring it out. And I've been together with my husband 30 years now, but like so much of the problems like aren't even about the content. It's just about communicating them in ways that the other either doesn't get or feel offended.
It's also, it's 100%. Like I would say that's why my husband and I that's when we argue. It's because we are a product of two totally different forms of communication. My family were like yellers, but not, my dad actually just disconnects. He'll make jokes and then it's like he'll throw a bomb. So he'll like say something that's like not supposed to be rude, but it's kind of offensive and funny and walk away. And then everybody else will like kind of deal with it.
Have
Like
to pick up the pieces.
Right. Like throwing a bouquet.
Yeah.
And like, the loudest, the what is it? The squeakiest wheel won in that sense. So I would learn how to be very loud. My husband's family, even though they're Jewish, they're a little more waspy and quiet, British kind of ish. So like you don't talk about what's happening. And if you have a problem, you kind of just like go and you kind of put your head down. And if someone cares, they're more critical. So it's like, I'm showing my interest in you because, and I'm criticizing you, but it's because I care.
Right.
So my husband's approach of like, if he's going to be, his criticalness is actually, he's showing love. And I'm like, that's not my fucking love language.
Right.
That's I'll have the
You're like,
opposite,
I don't need
please.
any criticism.
Yeah. I want, you're amazing, you're fabulous.
Anyone's love language.
It was his growing up. It was like, you could have done this in this job, or maybe you should have studied on or work on this. And I'm like, that sounds fucking terrible. Tell me I'm beautiful and I'm fabulous.
I want to bring my mom on my podcast to talk about this. I just got her on my show to talk about raising kids.
How old's your mom? I don't want to ask, but I sort of
She's
do.
72.
Oh, I feel so much better.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
Well, she was 41.
I was about to say.
You couldn't. You're 51. You couldn't have a 33-year-old. You would have picked it like 19.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
I mean, you
enough.
could
She
have
was
in
40,
the 50s. You could have.
40, 41.
But she was older. So is your brother older?
He's 35, 36.
Okay.
So she was 38 when
was
she
she
had
a
him.
career woman?
No, you said she stayed at home, right?
She was stay at home once we were born, but she worked a little bit. I wouldn't say she was a career woman so much as she was a Studio 54 dance party girl.
Love it.
And
love
my mom and
that.
dad were, my dad, who's a radio DJ, still on the radio,
No
and
way.
her were like at Woodstock, at Studio 54, like
My parents
in
were at
Egypt.
Woodstock.
Oh, really? Maybe
My
they've
mom was
met
partying
in the,
at Studio
in the mud.
54.
Yeah,
But she's a little younger.
my parents like lived on the Upper West Side and went every night to Studio 54 and slept during the day for a whole year.
That's
Wow.
Or
hilarious.
lived nocturnally for a year.
My dad's claim
That's
to
so
fame.
cool, but I
We're
would be
in the
miserable.
Dolly Parton doc, like in the back dancing.
Really?
Mhm.
As a kid, I'm almost certain this is true, but my dad shared that he was at Studio 54 and Diana Ross hit on him, but he didn't take her up on it because he was with my mom.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, my mom told me crazy stories. Studio 54 people will just be having
Yeah.
sex everywhere. It was like bizarre. She said the most gorgeous, like powerful woman who ever walked in, she felt was Diane von Furstenberg. She was like really.
She's still super
She
powerful.
still is, but her energy is like amazing.
No,
like,
I
she
know. I
just
saw her
commands.
talk like in
Yes.
a room at Bloomberg, and she just owned the room.
She owned the room. That's what my mom just remembers as a young girl, like being her at
Mhm.
Studio 54 was like commanded the room. It was like cocaine everywhere. Sounds great. It was like fun times.
Maybe all of our moms were together.
Snorting cocaine. My mom, I don't think my mom.
My
yeah,
mom never
maybe.
did drugs, but she was in
Yeah.
that, in the scene. And so she just was not thinking about kids until she turned 38. And then she was like, oh, I guess if we're going to do this, we're going to do this. And then had
She
my
must have been
brother.
unusual of that generation, or
Yeah.
was that the generation where everybody was working and breaking?
But she wasn't. She was
ceilings?
just partying.
No, I think she was just like, she's always been one of the oldest of all of her friends because her other friends, at least the other moms from my town, were all younger.
Yes,
And then like her other friends, her age, all had kids. And she just was like,
kind of a pioneer.
I don't
I
want
like
to do that
it.
right now.
very
But
cool.
I can't say she was like, running a business and was like, I'm busy. She just was.
But she definitely sewed the
playing.
road, so she was ready to be like a
But
stay-at-home
as
mom.
I was saying, I had her on my show to talk a little bit about raising kids. But I want to get her back on because I feel like she and I have had a lot of growth in the past few years. So I never grew up as like an angsty teen who was mad at my mom. I remember I'd see my friends who were like in fights with their moms or yelling at their
The
moms.
same. I was never like that.
I was always so close with her, and I told her everything. Like I remember I called her before I had sex for the first time.
I same
like
thing.
that was us, and there were no problems. And then as an adult, it wasn't even in college, it was like as a post-college adult, we started butting heads, and I started getting annoyed about like so many things about her and things she was doing. And she used to be like, I think your birth control is making you like,
oh my
angsty.
god, my mom would say stuff like that. I think you're on the wrong
She would say,
SSRI.
"It's
You're
the
being
pill,
crazy.
whatever."
Yeah. Yes.
And we would get in all these arguments, and then I have been, seeing my own therapist just for like my own personal life, and asked my mom to join me with my therapist. So we did a few sessions together, and I would say it was really useful. And I think since then we've had way better communication, and we've also just had conversations that are like generational cycle breaking conversations. Like we had a conversation about something that she does to me a lot that I tend to get annoyed at, that like makes me shut down when she does. And I was really poking to be like, did your mom used to do this to you? And I just feel like she never
what was
really,
that? Could you say what it was?
Yeah, it was just like, I feel like she gives me really good positive affirmation all the time of like, if she's proud of me or something. But I do feel like she a lot of time is giving me a critique on something about my hair or something that I should like
me
change
too.
about how I look, just to be like always sending me like, oh, Jennifer Aniston haircut, and it's like, love this haircut, and I'm like, are you saying you don't like this haircut? Like I'm always interpreting it as
right. Like,
I need
what's
to
the
change
agenda
something.
behind that?
And
image?
so we had this whole conversation because I feel like frequently when I see her, she's like,
oh my god,
if you're not watching on YouTube,
is that my mom?
she's like grabbing my hair, looking at me, or being like, you need to, like, this tone needs to be not as ashy. Like, and when I get my hair done, she's very involved in like telling the hairdresser what color she thinks looks best on me, like that kind of thing.
She'll still come with you?
No, but like I feel the need to ask
yeah, this
her.
feels
Yeah.
like therapy worthy.
Yeah. And so I sat
I
with her and I
relate
was
very
like,
much
can
to
we
this.
talk about, I just feel like she never really told me too much about like her own relationship with her mom, because her mom was my only grandma I ever knew. All the others were just dead by the time I was born, and her mom had a stroke when I was little, so I never really got like she had a stroke and stayed alive for 10 years where we could not talk to her. So I never really knew
I'm
her.
sorry.
Right.
And my whole relationship with, or my mom's whole relationship with her that I saw was the strained version of like, I'm your caretaker, and she was an only child. So like a lot of having to take care of her and being like resentful. And then she passed away when I was in high school. And whenever I guess I didn't ask my mom, like, what was your relationship like with your mom? I never really asked her, but in hindsight, whenever I did ask questions, I feel like she was always very positive about it, like glazed over any of the negative stuff and was always just like, yeah, we were really close. It was great. Like, dad and I took her on vacation to go here. Or like, she only told me the positives. And I just was like, now feeling from my knowledge of therapy and my knowledge of stuff, I'm like, I feel like she needs a therapist, but I
Right.
don't think she's ever going to go. So like, I'm going to try to play this role. So I was asking her questions about like, what would your mom do when you would go out or be at a party? And she started opening up about some things about her mom that were like, make sense to me why she's doing
Yes.
this.
These
Like,
are the formative relationships.
Right.
Yes.
Like, what did her mom do to her? Because I feel like I have a similar.
Well, I remember asking just about like, what was your mom like? Like, what was your relationship like? Did she ever tell you like you need to change your hair? And she was like, well, my mom was always made up, always done up. Like, she was a vivacious, like social butterfly. She like loved going out. She was always in like a pristine whatever. And she was like always partying with friends. And I was like, so were you like left at home? Like, and she's an only child. So like,
Right.
trying to uncover it. And I think I just get the vibe that her mom was like a very social, active butterfly, and my mom was her
Like, seen
only
but not
daughter,
heard.
but like was not necessarily like welcomed into the parties, and probably just like wanted her to like look like a little doll, and was always adjusting her, and that was how she was given love. And so now, like, when it comes to me, she's gotten a lot better because she's learning, and she gives me all these words of affirmation that I don't know that her mom ever gave her. But I do feel like she'll say to me like a critique of something about me that if I really dig into it, she's like, it comes from the place of like, I want you to like look as good as you can so that you can get as many opportunities as possible and like win at life and have
But
the
her
best
mom
life.
taught her those values that it
Yes.
matters how you look and how
Yeah.
you
Right.
show
See,
up.
I feel it was very similar. Like, my mom. So it's the same thing. Like, my mom will be like, oh, like, I think you need a new bra, or like, are you eating something differently? And I'm like, do I look fat? Like, what do I like? She wouldn't say it. And by the way, she never said you're fat or anything to me like that. But it was definitely, or maybe you need another hair. You need a haircut. Same things. Like, can I just look good right now? Or like, my kids are, throwing up and I'm like not focused on it. But I think her mom was very critical with her, would like tell her she was fat or not attractive enough, and I think she wants to protect me from anybody ever saying anything about my appearance like that would make me feel badly,
she's like nipping
or
it in the bud by telling you ahead of time.
kind of,
But
if that makes sense, you know.
The reason I think it's so smart you're both exploring this is I do think if you're not a mindful parent, you end up like recreating or repeating like the cycles from the past. I think that's what you meant when you said generational like cycles.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I kind of feel like this role as the child and mother, we sometimes forget. I mean, we forget about them in a weird way. It's like they're our mom. So it's like I've been actually making a more of an effort to call my mom and be like, how are you? I feel like we don't do that. It's like they're our
moms
moms.
are taken for granted. And we always say it as the mom, but we forget we're also the child.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, that's a good, big point. Like, my mom frequently I realize that her love language is quality time with me. And because I'm so busy with my life and my kids and my work and my whatever, I know that like if I just call her and I'm like, hi, and she's like, what's up? And I'm like, nothing. I'm just calling to say hi. Like, that will make her whole week.
Right.
And that will like change the tone of every conversation we've had just because I gave her like 2 minutes.
Exactly.
And so
without an agenda, you just wanted to talk to her.
Just wanted to talk instead of calling and being like, can you come watch Milo? Can I, getting a favor, but just that's something I've been working on.
Not asking to pick your brain.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the same thing of like complimenting somebody and versus just going right in there.
And to the point of what you just said about like asking questions, I feel like that my big takeaway from therapy, like if anyone's listening and is like, what can I implement immediately? Pretty much my takeaway of like multiple years of being in therapy is that like the answer to every approach, every relationship issue that you have with a person, at least in my case, where I tend to come in hot and I just like have my opinion or agenda or whatever, is I have started approaching conversations with people, like my people in my real life, as if they're a guest on my podcast.
Right,
where
being
I'm
a good
interviewing
listener.
them and getting curious about their life. And like, especially with my husband who doesn't give as much information on things, and
Yeah.
I'm like trying to pull teeth with him. If I just ask a few questions and then I shut up, he opens up.
I know. I don't know how to do
Can
that.
I
It's
just
so
say
hard. It's really hard.
my number one parenting advice, like not that I'm asked often and like that I try to live by, is approach everything with curiosity, not judgment.
Mm-hmm.
I think listening is key, and I really suck at listening.
Yeah.
I actually think, I know I'm being honest with you, I think the headphones are super helpful. I know they work for like kids with autism. Like
Mhm.
actually, I should like bring them out to dinner with my husband. Just put them on and like focus.
Focus. Well, I have a book recommendation for you that I sort of started. Can't say I finished it yet, but it was sent to me. It's called Deep Listening.
Ooh.
And it's a book that's like
Mm.
breaks down the components of what it takes to be a really good listener. And it's like immediate things that you could implement and start practicing in your conversations. And essentially, like the script of what you're supposed to do when you listen to someone is like you sit down and you could start by asking them a question about something. And the moment when you feel like you have something to say, you're going to jump in, you don't. And you just stay quiet, and you'll see that more comes out of them.
It's really hard.
And then once they say more, once it's clear they're done, or if they throw it back to you and say like, what do you think? Instead of actually giving your opinion or saying what you think, you're supposed to say something like, what I'm hearing you saying is, and reiterate it back to them, what they just said in your own words of like
I
how
think
you
should
heard
be a
it.
therapist.
I like kind of want to be. I don't think I will be.
I
that.
do too.
Well, you could do
But
like a
you
therapy
reiterate
episode or
back.
something.
But that's what coaching is in a lot of ways. Like
Yeah, but that's more like life coaching.
Unless you're talking about personal coaching. I'm saying
Yeah.
like personal. Maybe we need to do like a mic'd and medicated therapy. Like we're not therapists, but like just like real women talking the shit and being real.
Yeah.
Like this is
I do find that my episodes of my show, like I feel like I have to say a lot. I'm not a trained licensed therapist because I don't want anyone to think I'm giving like therapy advice.
It's just
But
like genius
I do
advice,
find
though.
that when I'm talking to my friends and on the show, I tend to start like giving advice that I feel like is like being channeled through a therapy lens, but I'm like, I was not really trained in this, so I don't know what I'm saying. So really take it with a grain of salt. But right now I'm reiterating what a book said. This
think
is
it's
not my
whatever.
information.
It
No,
sounds
I
great.
took a Musar class, which is
A what?
A what?
A Musar. It's a strain of
So
religion.
she doesn't know Snapchat
Okay.
bubbles, and I don't know what she's
but
talking
they,
about.
But they talked about like part of being a good person is actually when somebody comes to you and they're talking to you, don't think in your head about what you're going to say next.
Mhm.
Like listen openly. And then when they're done, don't bring it back to you. Don't, like, a lot of people think they're relating by saying like you share a story and then Caroline says, oh,
Right.
my mom's like that too.
Yeah.
Like a good listener will be like, oh, your mom seems or will follow you
Right,
up
it seemed
versus
narcissistic
relating it
because
to
I was like being
themselves.
like, "Oh, but tell me more." It sounds
I
like
only
my
use
life.
that as an example.
No, I agree,
You're
though.
a good listener too, but
Uh,
I think all of these things are like so
Ooh.
they make so much sense.
They're
It's
crappy.
how it's like parenting. How do you employ all of these like smart, thoughtful strategies when you're like triggered, when your nervous system starts
Tequila.
going? But you know what I'm saying? It's hard to do in the moment.
yeah,
So
of course. That's why we're
Yeah.
human. I think the best thing is to fuck up and then admit it. Like if I'm like screaming at my kids, sometimes I'll be like, "I'm really sorry. I'm frustrated."
Mhm.
Like parents get upset, or like I think
I think that's
that's
wonderful.
But like
Yeah.
I don't do that all the time.
Well, I think the best thing I've learned from Dr. Becky is about the repair. So, I also get frustrated and I'll get super annoyed, and then I'm like, my actions are not aligned with what I would want to be doing. And I'll just be like kind of living in that until it's run its course for me. But then I will make a point of calling out. I think one of the things she has you do is say like, hey, did you notice how I was acting like this in that moment? Like you saw that correct. That's actually one thing that's been massively helpful for having parents or grandparents who are not doing the same things that I want, that I'm doing with my kid. Like when they're with my kid, if they're talking to him differently or, you know, saying things that we don't say or doing things that I don't want them to do. Early in the earlier years of having a baby, I used to be in immediate, like, I need to correct you. You need to stop doing this zone, where it would make, like, I'd be living on edge, on angst when we're around different grandparents, because I'm like, we don't say that, or we don't do it that way, or like immediately trying to shut it down. And that was one of the biggest learnings I had, was that actually what is more impactful for, especially once your kid is older, let's say like grandpa always says something about body image that you don't want your kids to hear, or you would never say it, instead of being like on right in front of the kid starting to fight with grandpa about it, you instead like let it all happen. You don't really say anything in the moment, and then you later go to your kid and you say, hey, did you notice how grandpa made this comment about bodies? And then they're like, yeah. And then you say, then you talk about it and you say, so some people have that opinion and that's how some people feel, but that's like really not how mommy and daddy approach it, and that's not how like many people approach it. And some people who are from a different generation, they have different opinions on things, but like that's just not really how it's done anymore, and that's not how you and your friend should be handling this. And like, we heard him say that, and we just want to make sure that's not how you feel.
That's very
and then
smart.
like
I would
go
just be
from
like,
there.
Dad, you can't say someone's fat.
Totally. No, and that's how, those are the types of like snapping things I was doing before. And I realized like it was making my time unenjoyable to be around people. It was making me like a not fun daughter to have, or daughter-in-law. And it was also actually adding like tension and stress to my kid, who really couldn't understand what we're
Yes.
fighting about, but just hears everyone fighting.
Right.
Instead of having, let it happen, no fighting, everyone's fine. And then you have the conversation as their parent to direct them to the crazy thing they heard that they need to process, and you process it with them.
I love that. I really,
Yeah.
I feel very inspired by how to listen to my husband, how to talk to my kids, and how to post better on Instagram.
What
you're
a
right.
takeaway.
And Lucie, I just like, it has been such a delight to spend time with you.
Too. Yes, let's please keep in touch.
Yeah.
And for people who are listening, you can obviously find me on social media.
We're going to
You'll
post
link it
everything in the show notes.
But I was going to say, if anyone is like interested in applying for the coaching, you could go to luciefink.com/apply.
But you've limited spots.
Apply-coaching. If you go to luciefink.com/apply, I think that's like how you apply to be an audience call or guest on my podcast.
Ooh.
So luciefink.com/apply-coaching. I'll also send this to you.
Yes, I'll make sure to have it all perfect.
LUCIE, Lucie.
Amazing.
Love it. Lucie,
See, you're actually
you're
really good
adorable.
at selling yourself.
Thank you.
We loved
Even though
it.
I hate it.
No, you're amazing. We need to get better.
Thank you all for
We're
watching.
great. We're doing amazing.
Thank you for coming back to the Mic'd and Medicated YouTube channel. If you're watching, please click here to subscribe to their channel. Please click here to watch another video, and we will see you next time on Mic'd and Medicated.
She's so good.
Mic
Mic
drop.
drop.